All right, everybody, welcome to my live stream. My name is Jacob Gabbard from Invest with Jacob. Been on the YouTubes for about 6 years doing this now, and every Wednesday we do this, live streaming my indicator trades and my thoughts and going over the market so that you can kind of understand what we're thinking, why, and how, and really, really good stuff for us using these indicators. I'll show you here both of them. We're going to demonstrate both of them. On the left side of the screen, we have the NQ 1 minute chart right there. And on the right side of the screen, we have the SPY 5 minute chart. So two different charts, 5 minute, because this is a Pivot Point Pro indicator that we are demonstrating. And this one is on the left. The NQ on the 1 minute is our Squeeze Sniper Futures Edition. So on the Futures Edition, we are this is over 3 weeks of time because that's as far back as the 1 minute chart goes. Because it has to put a bar on there every minute. That's a lot of data. So the max data trading view will give you is 3 weeks worth of 1 minute data. And to be clear, we're not trading 1 minute setups. We're just trading on the 1 minute chart because we get precise entries that way. We get entries exactly at price with a 1 minute bar instead of a 5 minute bar. We're actually trading hourly and daily setups, and we are day trading those setups, which turns out to be very, very profitable and very, very powerful. So as you can see up here, I have the trade log on here. There's a lot on the screen. I'm going to clean it up here in a minute, but you want to see all this. So over the last 3 weeks, we had 65 trades. So in about 14 trading days or so, because there was a couple holidays in there. Juneteenth, I believe, is still in there, and definitely July 4th is in there. So either 13 or 14 trading days, we had 65 trades. We won 47 and lost 18 for a net of 500 NQ points, 505 to be exact. Well, 504.75 to be exact. And that's $20 a point. So that's $10,000 you would have made over the last 3 weeks if you're just trading these trades. And they're very simple. I'll show you a trade on the screen here in just a second. Overnight tonight, we had 4 winners so far, 1 loser. And really just absolutely crushing it there. It is a futures trading product right now. I have another Squeeze Sniper that you get with this. This is called Squeeze Sniper Futures Edition. I also have Sniper 2.0. They will be one indicator eventually, but right now we have the futures doing a little different thing that's a little better. And the ETFs and stocks will be updated to that as soon as possible. But they're on Sniper 2.0, which is also a very, very powerful tool. As we go down here, I'm going to show you some other stuff too. This works on the NQ, the RTY, the SPX, the ES. That's it. NQ, RTY, ES, SPX. And probably the NQX. I honestly never look at the NQX, but it probably works on that. I'd have to look. I'd actually have to set it up for that. It's not set up for that right now. But here you can see we had an entry right here. It gives you the entry. So 29,330.50 was your entry. Your stop 29,314. Take profit 1, 29,349, and take profit 2. And then you have a runner after that. So you take 75% of your trade off on the first level. So you hit 29,349, which was let's stretch this out so we can see it for a second. So 29, that was 19 points and a total of 32 points on the second one. And then you had your losing trade here. You had a winning trade here. If we go back a little earlier in the night, you had a winning trade way over here. This winner was a take profit 1 winner. We never got to take profit 2. They missed it by 1 point. It was 408, and they got or 2 points. They got to 406, and take profit 2 was 408.75. So they missed it by 2 points, unfortunately. So we got stopped out for just a 5-point win on that one because the stop is still down low. And another winner right here, your entry, and then no heat taken whatsoever, just an absolute crush straight up. And then your runner moves up with price. So this red line right here is your runner. This is initially your stop, and then it moves up as price moves up, and would continue if they didn't dip back down and get it out here. You're welcome to take the runner off at any time, but I just close it when it comes back to the runner stop price there. So this is futures only. Again, now we'll go over to the ES and look at that real quick. Whoa. Let's shrink that down a little bit. So over on the ES, we've had 49 trades, 34 and 15 for about a 70% win rate, 217 total points on the ES. That again is $50 a point, so that's another $10,000. So if you're just trading the ES and the NQ with this over the last 3 weeks, you've made $20,000, and that's pretty darn powerful. Again, at a 70% win rate. Now, that's a 70% win rate, and if you look at the last 10 trades here, it really hasn't been that good because it's been a little choppy, and that's okay. You go through bad trades, but let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 50% over its last 12 trades. That means on the 37 before that, it was hitting at like 80%. And you're going to go through spells where you get really good trades and spells where you don't. That's just part of it. And we're still over time hitting 70% over 3 weeks and up 200 points. So even with this bad run of 50% trading, we are still absolutely crushing. So those are the two main markets that we trade. It does RTY as well. You know, that's a I think that's $20 a point. I don't trade the RTY. I'll be honest with you. I don't trade it. That's $20 a point. You're up 1,000 there. At 67%, 24 and 12 over its last 36 trades there. But the NQ and the ES are what I trade, and they're crushing. So I'll get that off the screen. I'm going to keep the screen up for trading, but I'm going to get the trade log off the screen real quick. There is a link for this right now, and I highly encourage you to take advantage because we don't have the full version out, just the futures version. So I'm still giving a discount on it, $77. It will go to $97 a month when the full version comes out. And at that time, it'll go to $97 and $970. So it'll be, 33% more expensive if you wait. So I would highly encourage you to get it. It's absolutely killing, and I think you're going to really like it as a tool. On the right side of the screen, we have Pivot Point Pro. This is our classic indicator, been here for a long time. It gives you buys and sells. Very simple. When it says sell, we sell. When it says buy, we buy. We don't trade the pre-market, so the light blue and the yellow, we do not trade that. You can if you want. I mean, this sell in the pre-market turned out to be amazing. This buy wasn't bad. This sell in the pre-market turned out to be pretty darn good. This buy wasn't bad. It's up to you if you want to trade that. Over history, we found that the pre-market isn't all that great for trading. We just trade regular trading hours. Now, we didn't get any trades yesterday. We only trade until 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so the first 2.5 hours of the day. So this buy signal comes in right at the close. We don't take that. So no trades yesterday because the market moved in one direction. This is called a Pivot Point Pro. So we're looking for the market to pivot and turn. We're looking for reversals. If there's no reversal in the market, there's no trades. Now, there was a reversal down here, but you also have to factor in, or the indicator factors in. You don't have to do anything. The indicator factors in the strength of the move down and says this is a continuation pattern. And the indicator's right. It is a continuation pattern. If you look, we come down, we come up, and we continue. So it's a continuation pattern, so it doesn't want to take longs because a lot of times in continuation patterns you get this, very small bounces, and those turn out to be a lot of losers that you don't want to take. So it filters out most of the trades that are highly probable to fail, and sometimes that means it filters out a winning trade. But this winning trade may have had 3 losers on the way down on some of the green bars here that counter what you would have won here. So you gotta factor in all of those types of things. So these are the 2 indicators we'll be going over or demonstrating today. They're both very powerful and really, really cool. So if you're a futures trader, I highly suggest Sniper Futures. If you are a stock or ETF trader, Sniper 2.0 and Pivot Point Pro are both very, very good. Now, Pivot Point Pro is also very good on swing trading. We use the weekly chart for swing trading. And is it perfect? The answer to that, of course, is no. No indicator is, but is it awesome? The answer to that is yes. So let's look at it on the weekly real quick. And so you'll see here, you got a sell signal right at the top of this move, which was at 694. They came all the way down to 628. That's a 70-point drop in a few weeks. Then you got a buy signal on the move up at about 671. They ran it up to 761. That's another huge win. You got a buy signal way down here at 528. They ran it all the way up to 648. You got a sell signal up here at 611. They ran it all the way down to 483. These sell signals are still profitable. This one's not. but this one was profitable. This one is profitable. This buy signal is a monster. This sell signal is good. This buy signal is a monster. I mean, you just have so many. This sell signal was a loser. So on the way up, you can see very profitable buy signal, loser. Very profitable sell signal, extremely profitable buy signal, very profitable sell signal, losing sell signal, very big sell signal, very big buy signal, losing sell signal, very big sell signal, very big buy signal. If you just trade it and hold, you put these in for I put them in for 3 to 6 months. We're really looking for long runs on these, and use trade risk management. You will do really, really well with this indicator. So that's just the SPY. It's good on anything. You can look at it on other charts as well. We're not going to do that now because I have other stuff to go over before we get into trading for the day. So we have our futures on the left, again on the 1 minute chart for the NQ. Again, we're not trading 1 minute setups. We're just on the 1 minute chart. We're actually trading hourly setups. And we have our Pivot Point Pro on the right, which is trading reversals in the market. These other lines on the screen, real quick, there's a link for futures, Sniper Futures, in the description of this video. It's the only place you can get it. You can't get it on my website. You can't get it anywhere else. You have to click that link in the description of the video if you want to get it. Pivot Point Pro is on the website. It's the Trading View indicator. It's $59 a month. It is a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't like it, you can just say, hey, I didn't like it. Can I do it again? $5.90 for the year. You do get a 2-month discount by doing it yearly. These other lines on the screen, that's called Mentor Q. These are gamma levels, and they are very important to trading. You have your 1-day minimum and your 1-day max first. We'll talk about those. We treat those as the shoreline of the market. We know where those tides come up to on the ocean, and we can build houses based on that. We can build houses and say the ocean's tide on high tide isn't going to come up into my living room because we know where the market's going or where the ocean's going to stop. However, when there's a hurricane, the tides don't matter, right? The ocean pushes up into the streets, the houses, the buildings, everything, and crushes. There are going to be hurricane days where these don't hold. However, 90% of the time, the market is going to trade between these two levels. Between the 1-day minimum, you can see it got down below it, immediately got back above it, and the 1-day max. They are very, very great levels to watch for reversals. In the middle of that, you have your daily gamma levels for the 0 DTE. This is where the options are the highest stacked and where the market makers are going to get underwater a little bit. So you have 2 levels of gamma call resistance. One is the intraday and one is the end of day. And what that means is the end of day levels are calculated at the end of yesterday. So when yesterday's market closes, they look at the options levels for today and they say, okay, here are the main levels where the market makers need to hold or we're going to go into positive gamma. After the overnight session and we get into this morning, the intraday levels are calculated, and that's what the other level is. So if I click on intraday, one of them goes away. So the intraday is the lower one, and the end of day is the higher one up closer to the 1-day max. Same thing for the put support. You have your put support 0 DTE and put support down here. Sometimes they change, sometimes they don't. So the 0 DTE means end of day options today. The put support means bigger, longer term options. That's a key level. It came right down into that, bounced back above the 1-day min. And these are very powerful levels. If you don't understand gamma, it's as simple as this. I'm going to give you 2 ways to understand it. If you're a gambler, which if you're day trading, you probably have gambled in your life. If you know how sports bets work, the bookies want to book bets equally on each side of the game. So if Kansas City's playing the Eagles in the Super Bowl, they want $1 million on each side of the game, or however much they're booking. And then they just want to collect the juice because you have to pay $11 to win 10. It's a 10% juice. So they're going to make $100,000 if the game is equal. Okay? If it gets unequal, in other words, there's $1 million on Kansas City and $1,000 on the Eagles, they have to start betting on the Eagles heavily to cover that overlay. So they will call another casino and say, hey, we need to bet the Eagles here for $900,000 because they can't take a $900,000 hit if the Chiefs cover. Market makers are the same thing. They want equal amounts of money on calls and puts so that their delta is basically neutral, and they're collecting the spread of the market. So when the spread is 2 cents, they collect 2 cents on every option sold if they have equal booking. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but you got to remember there's 100 options in a contract. So they're collecting $2 a contract, and if you sell millions of contracts, you're doing pretty good. So market makers want balance. If they don't have balance, they have to start hedging. So when they start to get above the call resistance, that means that they're out of balance. This is the level where everything's okay, and where they want to be is in between these two levels, or these two levels, depending on which one's heavier, but in between the put support and the call wall. So if they're in between those two, they're good. If they are not, they have to hedge, which is why you see the put support break here and the market cascade down strongly, because once it breaks, they have to start selling futures in order to cover themselves. So the market makers start piling into the shorts as well, which is what causes waterfalls. Same thing to the upside. When they get above call resistance, you get a squeeze because the market makers are underwater to the upside, and they got to start buying futures to hedge against all the calls they sold. And so they buy futures, and up we go. So think of it this way. When you buy something, someone has to sell that to you. And in options, there are two sides. There's a zero-sum game. There is one winner and one loser. So if I sell you an option, or if I buy an option, someone had to sell it to me. Who sells it to me is almost always the market maker. Is it sometimes you because you're selling your options? Is it sometimes somebody else? Yes, but the majority of it comes from the market makers. And when they're selling calls, that means they need the market to go down. When they're selling puts, they need the market to go up. And what they really want is just equilibrium. They want to be able to sell calls, sell puts, and then stay in the middle of it. But when they get out of balance, then they have to start buying calls or selling or buying puts because they're underwater in one direction or the other. So that's why you get squeezes, that's why you get waterfalls, and that's why these levels are so important. There's also a link to get this in the description that will get it at a discount. This is not my product. It's the only product that I recommend because, one, I love it, and two, I use it. I don't shill products. I don't come out here and say, you need to buy this Bitcoin Finder tool or some bullshit. I give you real stuff, the stuff I use in the market. So just so you know that, I don't peddle stuff that I don't use or love. The only things I work on are my stuff, and I do love MentorQ, so I do have a link for that. Full disclosure, I get a kickback, but you get a discount, so we both win. All right, let's go to the main market. We'll go over counts real quick, and then we will, oops, let's get this off of here. Okay, and then we'll get ready to trade. All right, let's zoom in. So the market gave us a little bit of a deeper pullback overnight. If you were in my room, you would know that I talked about them coming down to 450 or so. We're still in a 1-2-1-2 setup on the ES. So you have wave 4 down, wave 1 up, wave 2 down, wave 2 up. Wave 1 of 3 up, wave 2 down, and then building out wave 3. What we got yesterday was a rejection of the pivot, and that's extremely normal in a 1-2-1-2 setup. And they came back to the 8 down here around 74. What was the low? 63. Bounced right off the 8 and went back up. So far, everything is okay on, the weekly 8. I'm on the weekly chart. Let me refresh that to the daily. So on the daily, they got below. They're coming back up to the 21. But I talked about yesterday this being a potential higher wave 1 of 3 kind of deal, where we'd be looking at this to be wave 2 of 3. All of it is still the same setup. They're at the 618. This is a perfectly fine wave 1 of 3, wave 2 of 3. It's also possible this is a flat like that, and then they come up. In any case, it's still the bullish setup we've been talking about until they can break down much, 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 much lower, like below 72, way below 72.50. 72.50 is our target level, was our target level for this move down. They came down to 73.57. So just missed it by, they actually came down to 7. I thought they were much closer than that. They actually came down to about 72.90, so they just missed it by about 40 points or so, and then moved back up from there. So this is a perfectly acceptable low. Again, off of that low, you have this 1, 2, 1, 2 setup, and then we're looking for higher. So a bullish count here is our primary count. Nothing has changed in that, even with the overnight move down. A little deeper than we'd like to see, but overall, nothing too crazy. Same thing. NQ is just a little bit uglier. A lot of it, really. ES is very clean. So you have your wave 4, and then a potential for this to be 1, and then it's possible this is 2. It's a really deep 2. It's also possible they're trying to play out a diagonal to the downside for a C wave that would come down to 373. Those would be the two main paths on the NQ. I still favor higher on the NQ, even though they're down here at support. I do favor kind of a, whether it's going to be a diagonal setup or not, I do favor that kind of move there. But they are getting a little bit too low for my liking here on this wave 2. So we got to keep an eye on the NQ because it will ultimately tell the story. It's the leader of the market and will be the leader of the market. And that is something to keep an eye on for today. All right, let's look at some questions real quick before we jump into trading or jump into our setup for the day. Are trades on futures during trading hours or after hours? Both, actually. Just want to know what time to watch screen or setting the alerts. So you just want to set the alerts. You don't need to watch the screen, at least if you can. Like I sit here and trade, so I watch the screen, but I also have alerts on. So those alerts, should be set for that. Is it possible to configure notifications to Discord or some other app when an entry is fired by the indicator? Your phone. So if you go to set, hold on, let's go to the right. Which screen is it? This one, yeah. So if you go into the alerting engine, when you set your alerts, you're going to hit, oh, that's not what I want. Uh-oh. Where did my alerting engine go? Why is that? I'll show more, maybe. No. You want, okay. I got to look at that. I just sent an update out and I didn't look at the alerting engine. I guess that's annoying. Any alert function call will be fine for right now. Open-ended is what you want here. And then you want apps, toast, email, sound. You want to click that and make sure, send an email, I have them all clicked except the web, play a sound, and I have it sent to my phone. This pushes in the mobile app. So notify an app, that means you get it on your phone. So you're going to want to do that. And what was the other question? Oh, nothing. That was it. So that is the way to get it to your phone, Yogendra. Is Jacob live yet? You can't hear me, Bill? I hope you can hear me. You guys can hear me, right? JG is the trading audible alarm that's not working because the sniper isn't official final version yet. No, it's working. I had trades overnight that alerted my phone that woke me up. So maybe refresh and make sure you have the latest version, Brad. Always check if there's a blue circle, you need to update your chart. Or you can go here and down here somewhere it'll say, give me the latest indicator or latest version right in here somewhere. Hi, JG. Too early again to pay attention to the weekly sell signal. Yeah, I mean, we're only on Wednesday. We got to see how the week closes. If we do get a sell signal, that's very important to watch. But we need to keep an eye on it. Hi, Jacob. Look forward to these live trading sessions. Reckon the bottom is in. Not yet. If they explode higher today and tomorrow and Friday, I'm looking for a pretty strong move over the next few days based on today's pullback if they're going to be bullish. If they break the low they set overnight, that's a little bit of a warning that they may want to take this down to 72.50 before going higher. So I would be very cautious with that. It is possible. Somebody asked in the YouTube video last night, why can't the top be in? It's possible. But there's a long way to go before that evidence is even close to coming out. First, we got to break the June lows, then the March of this year lows, then the April 25 lows. There is a lot of work to do before I will concede that the top is in. It does need, in my opinion, one more high at least. I think the structure is pretty full though, as far as where we're at after that high. So once we get one more high, that would create a pretty full structure. And I'm actually going to do something real quick while I'm on here so I can. Give me 1 second, guys. I need to screenshot this. I like to do things so that their ball is in motion at all times. Okay, I can get rid of that now. The much more likely scenario is we need another high. We don't need another high, but we'll get another high. The structure really doesn't have a great 4-5 at the top, and so I would really like to see that materialize, and then I'd be much more inclined to say the next decline could be a bigger, more destructive correction. But right now, for me, the top has a lot of work before it's going to prove it's in. The move off of the top is very weak and very overlapping, which usually leads to higher. I understand our reliance on structure, but some of the factors that drove the markets higher is breaking down, like SMH, Korea, or Japan. Are they? Or are they just pulling back to their support that I highlighted and building their way for as well? I've gone over SMH every day, Sonny, so you should know that my expectation is for them to hold the support that they've held and push. That doesn't mean they're going to, but the Mag 7 is also bottomed, and they need to rotate in their B waves, and those B waves can absolutely push the entire market higher. So the Mag 7 is still powerful, and SMH and semiconductors are powerful, and they've kind of been working against each other lately, and they're both kind of bottoming in a support zone, which is where you would expect this strong move to come from. So remember, breaking down is relative. They're having some down days, but they're certainly not what I would call breaking down. They haven't broken any major support whatsoever. And I'll be honest, Korea doesn't matter to the U.S. market. The Kospi is fine. It's been raging. It has some worldwide value, but it's not going to bring the U.S. market down solely. You're going to need a lot of help with that. But the Kospi did get out of control, and it's going to have a major letdown here soon. Okay, so let me do something real quick on another screen here. Sorry. Okay, F11, we are set here. And one more thing. Okay, that is now updated. That over here. Yeah. Okay, Sonny, to answer your question, in the other room, we are going to give them a chance to recover today on the swing and see what happens. So I'm going to hold because this does look like a good bottoming setup, and the market will kind of dictate that here at the open. So let's see if we get. Oh shoot, we are at the open. I'm not ready. Oh, I hope we don't have a trade coming. If we do have a trade coming, I'll get it to you as soon as humanly possible. All right, today is 8th. I need to get this up and ready. Sorry, guys. That came up quick as I was going through some debugging stuff there. Okay, so you do have, by the way, an entry on NQ for the futures indicator. The entry was at 29,230, and we're looking for 29,248. 29,230. Yeah, 29,240. Oh, it's already hit there. Okay, there's the take profit. I was like, where's the take profit bubble? So you have the take profit. The stop is still down here. Why did that? It's okay. Hold on a second. I see what happened. Okay. So that's the first time we've had that. That is a valid trade and a valid win. It happened on the same bar, and there is a, okay, so I see what the deal is now. That's good. That's the first time I've seen that. Raging market, which is really nice. So this is a winning trade. So there is a block in the code that says everything can't happen on the same bar, and most of the time a 1 minute bar doesn't rage and enter and get the first target. So it still has the code in there saying, hey, we're on a long here. And it hit both profit targets because now the second bar is hit, so it still has the idea for the long. I wonder if I refresh it if it'll come back. But because all of that happened in one bar, yeah, and there it went. Okay. So that is the issue. Perfect. Troubleshooting 101. So the trade is a winning trade. It can be a losing trade on one bar, but it's and by the way, I just got the Audible alert Brad on my phone for that. Trading View's a little slow. So there is a code line in there that says we can't enter and take profit on the same bar, and the reason for that is if you get a bar that comes up, and let's say 262 was the level, and that same bar comes back down, and 197 was the entry. Let's just say, I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm making something up. Okay? And the entry comes back up, and you enter right here at 227 because that's where the entry is. TradingView doesn't understand that this bar came back down, and it sees that you're already hit this price, and it says, oh, that's a winning trade. It doesn't understand that if it all happens in the same bar. It just sees that that bar already hit winning price and gives you a win on the trade, which isn't accurate, if that makes sense. So let me see if I can explain that a little cleaner. You get a move up, and then they pull back that gives you the trade setup, and then you get the entry on the way back up, and the first target was right here. Because the price already touched the first target, TradingView assumes that you had a winning trade, even though price is still down here when you entered. So it sees that price was hit and it gives a fake winner. So we took that out so it wouldn't happen. And that's why we're getting the disappearing trade, because it can't happen in one bar. You can't have take profit and entry on the same bar. I hope that makes sense and clears up a lot of things. That was a valid trade. But here's the deal. You won't get it on losers. Losers can happen on the same bar. And winners just aren't going into the chart. So that winner, I don't think will be displayed in the chart. Let's look. Uh-oh, now what's happening? Too much going on. Okay, so it moved it over is what it did. So this trade is back. So you'll see that take profit 1 and take profit 2 came on the second bar. I see why the trade disappeared and reappeared. So that's what happened. Hopefully you guys understand that and that makes sense. The take profit 2 bar is hidden here, there. Okay. So and then it moved so much that it already hit the runner stop and closed the trade. So the trade came in, it gave you the values, it hit them really fast on the first bar, so it didn't know what to do. And then the second bar, it hit take profit 2, it recalculated the trade on the repaint, and so it is going to be on the chart. It is going to be a winning trade. So that is, I can't fix that. And what I mean by that is the same bar stuff will give fake trades, and I'm not going to have any fake trades. This was a valid, real trade, but it cannot hit take profit on the same bar or the trade will disappear. So that is why that is happening. That is a good thing to see. So troubleshooting 101 right there. Together, we all figured it out. Well, together I figured it out with you guys here. So that is what happened there. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody of what went on. The trade came up, it moved very quickly, hit the target in the same bar, because this 1 minute bar was 202 to it was a 75.1 minute bar. That's huge. That's a huge bar on the NQ. Very often you don't get the entry on that bar. You get the entry either earlier or not at all, because it's already had a long setup. As I said, I've watched a lot of trades happen on here to troubleshoot and make sure we got everything fixed. And I had not seen a same bar entry like that, so I didn't know it would react like that. And that's a good thing to know. Once this secondary bar hit the take profit level, though, it was able to go back and say, okay, we hit take profit here. I'm repainting the trade that way. So I understand what happened there. Hopefully you guys do too. I'm going to look in the questions here now and make sure you guys are on. Make sure you guys are on board here. My NQ indicator lagged behind your indicator. That's probably an internet thing. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why that happened, but that's either a trading view or an internet thing, one of those two. But I would say it's probably more about the internet than anything else. I think it's in there, Joseph. I don't look at all of the little aesthetics, I'll be honest. But trade marker size, I believe you can change it right here. Let me see. Let's see if that does it. Hold on one second. Yeah, so you can change it right there. All right, so we already have a winning trade on the board. Way to go, us. I'll be honest, if you got that trade and you were able to get in on it, good job. That moved very, very quickly. So if you didn't get that trade, I understand. Sometimes the market moves quicker than we do. The trade was a valid setup. It just it went up 75 points in 1 minute. That's a lot. That is a monster bar right there. 75 points technically in less than a minute. So that particular repaint, I have no issue with because it's coded that way. So hopefully you guys understand that. $22 net though, and another winning trade. So that's 5 winning trades overnight and into today with only 1 loser. That is a 80% win rate, which is right on par with what we see on the NASDAQ. Actually, it's different. I was thinking 4 out of 5. It's 5 out of 6. 5 out of 6 is what, 75, about 82%, something like that. Nice start here from the NQ. We're not going to get a buy signal here for the pivot point pro because the pivot was down here. And the move down was very strong, so it probably filtered out this buy signal. But we're not going to get a buy. We may get a sell signal at some point, but no buy signal on the SPY side. That's why the futures and squeeze sniper is very good to have because it picks up on these squeeze setups and looks for them. 75 points in a minute is the definition of a squeeze. Sorry, late is the winning trade off of Sniper. It is. You might want to rewind the video a little bit and go over it because it was a newfound thing. So because the bar was 75 points in 1 minute, the entry and the take profit hit on the same bar, which isn't allowed to happen per the code. But the code had the trade in there, and when it hit the take profit on the next bar, hit the same level, it moved the bar over and repainted it. So the trade was valid. It was a valid trade, but because the code tells it can't have the take profit on the same bar as the entry, and I explained why, so that's why I want you to rewind, because I don't want to re-explain all of that. It did repaint, but it was a winning trade off of Sniper. Yes, that is the answer, and it was a valid winning trade. Okay, SPY is coming up into today's high, yesterday's low, and this month's open. So this is going to be a key level. The pre-market and after-hours high will also be key levels up here around 747 to see if the ES and NQ can give us kind of that explosion higher that we're looking for, or if this is going to be a failed pop and we look for continuation down. So far, rejecting the just below the month's open and yesterday's low. Getting back above yesterday's low will be another opportunity to look for a squeeze. Now, you won't get an indication of a squeeze on Squeeze Sniper, or you shouldn't, because it's coming from higher. But if you get the pattern here, where they break above yesterday's low, so they breached yesterday's low, they made a lower low. If they come back above it, pull back and hold this area, and then get back to it, they're very likely to squeeze again higher. We'll walk through that together if they do it. Well, at least if they do it before 11 or so. I will tell you that I have traded and watched very, very many trades on Sniper. That is the first one that was that fast. Very often you're in back here before the squeeze, before the bigger squeeze. This time you happen to get in on this pullback and then entry. So I understand that one may have been tough to get to, but don't take that as an indication that that's how it is every time, that you can't get in and it's too hard. All of the trades last night were very easily entered. If you go back and look while we wait here. This trade, your entry was 29,330. So right about here, they actually gave you a secondary chance to get into it if you wanted to. And then this one over here. Got to find them. They're around here somewhere. There it is. Okay. This one over here, the entry was 29,340, which was like the top of this bar, so it was right at the end of this bar. Then they consolidated, then they pulled back, and then they went and hit the numbers, so plenty of time to get into this trade. This one over here, they hit the number right near the top of the bar as well, and this bar consolidates for a minute, and then they went and hit the number. So you're not going to get, this one obviously was a stop. That one wasn't good. You're not going to get blown out of the trade like that very often. In fact, that's the first time I've seen one that you just couldn't get on board with. On your squeeze indicator, be sure to change the visual order to bring to front. Huh. See, look at that. I'm like a boomer. I don't know that stuff. Bring to front. Visual order. Huh. I feel like I feel like I'm my dad right now. my my dad called me. He's passed away now, but he called. Actually, not me. He called my brother. We were all in a fantasy football league together, and my dad, he's an older guy. He was an older guy, and technology was not necessarily his thing. And he called Joff and he says, ESPN won't let me in. They say I don't know my passcode. And Joff said, I'm not ESPN, Dad. I don't know your passcode either. Like I don't know what your password is. You're gonna have to talk to them. But just stuff like that is funny. And then you get older and you realize that you don't know those things either. I know those things, but there are other things that now my daughter's telling me things. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't know that. Dad, did you know you can do this on your phone? No. Getting old, stupid. I appreciate that, Joseph Rapp. Though that was a good tip. I'm always hovering over it so it brings it to front instead of just bringing it to the front. Makes sense. Also, going back to somebody said their indicator was lagging. Make sure you have the OP3. You know me. Make sure you have the latest version of the indicator. Make sure you update it to what version we're on right now. Is it possible to add the date and time of the trades in the trade log? Probably. I'll see what I can do. Wave two was only 1 day. Makes sense that four lasts more than a month. I mean, theory of alternation tells you it should be longer. I don't think it lasted a full month. Remember, we're in wave two bottomed in the middle of June. So if wave four is in, if not, then we could be looking at something a little different. But yeah, theory of alternation would tell us it should be longer and more sideways than straight down. So when you have a move where wave two does this, theory of alternation tells you that, and does it quickly, that wave four should be like this. And if you see a wave two that's like this, then wave four should look like this. So the pullbacks kind of alternate in intensity and size. So if one's fast, the next one should be slow, and vice versa. Lots of red on the watch list. Yeah, it's a red day right now, but a recovered red day. So you always got to look at it in context of, are we making new lows, or are we trying to rebuild off the low? And currently, given the open, they are trying to rebuild off the low, and we'll see if they can do that. They are holding basically the 8 right now on the 21. which tells you that momentum is still up on the smaller time chart. So the 5-minute chart tells you momentum is still to the upside for now. If they break down below the 21 in VWAP, then that changes. So in context, if you go to the daily chart, you're going to see a wick at the bottom. If we go to the NQ daily, you've got a really long wick here, really long. So this is a recovering day right now. Yes, it's red, no question about that. It's got a ways to go to get green. Well, not now. It's moving pretty quick, but anyway, it's close to getting green. So with SMH and Nvidia green right now, if they continue to push green, that will continue to push the market. The Mag 7 is really the drag. So basically, what you've had over the last few weeks is competing semiconductors in Mag 7, where semiconductors have been strong in Mag 7 week, and then Mag 7 strong in semiconductors week, and vice. They just keep going back and forth. If they all get on the same page in one direction, that can be nasty. It can be either a huge squeeze up or an absolute destruction down. But the Mag 7 very weak today. Meta minus 2%, Microsoft minus 1.5%, Amazon minus 1%, Tesla minus almost 2%, Apple's down 0.5%, basically. Google's down about 1%. So still seeing some a lot of weakness in the Mag 7. The Mag 7, we're looking for some bounces on some certain things. They're at support on a lot of charts where we're looking for different kind of bounces, but and so is the SMH and Nvidia. SMH and Nvidia are bouncing. We'll see if they bounce to new highs or not, but they are bouncing, and the Mag 7 is now pushing down. NQ is leading. That's an interesting thing to watch, with ES down 0.5% and RTY down over 0.5% and NQ almost flat or getting close to flat. Either NQ is going to absolutely lose it to the downside, or we're going to start squeezing higher, and I favor the squeeze higher side of that. Let's go back to the 1 minute here. The Bears have had every opportunity to collapse this market. If we go one more time back to the daily here, the Bears have had every opportunity to collapse this market. They had it here, 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 and they continue to fail. And this is a really weak, ugly structure, and that almost always resolves higher. Almost always. Getting old is sad. Yeah, it is. It's got its benefits, and then it's got a lot of drawbacks, and most of the drawbacks involve knowing that doing this and being here is getting shorter. My dogs are not happy in the cage right now. The thing that cracks me up is they're in the cage laying down. I'm gonna probably let them out here in just a second, and then I'll let them out of the cage, and they're gonna go out there and lay down. But they're mad that they have to lay down in the cage. What's your overall day direction today? I think oh yeah, that was earlier. Sorry, Joseph. I think I covered that. I think, I mean, a lot of it's going to depend on right now. They got to get back above yesterday's low. Assuming they recapture yesterday's low, then higher. But as long as they're below yesterday's low, bears are in control. Um, and this can absolutely press down. If they can recapture yesterday's low, then the bulls, I would very likely think it will progress higher. Options prices are, um, I would say, slightly elevated, but not overly, which tells me that they think most of the selling is probably done, as a kind of guess there. Options prices are usually pretty telling when there's a $2 or more price tag on options on 0 DTE options. It's a very strong indication that at some point during the day there's going to be a strong selling move. Doesn't mean they're going to go down forever or that it's going to be a huge red day. It just means at some point during the day you're going to see something like this, and then they could absolutely do that. You don't have that today. There's no $2 price tag. They're about $1.50 at the money, and that usually tells you that you might see a little bit of moving around, but ultimately they don't expect a huge drop. What's the VIX look like? Oh, way too far down. Where is it at? Oh, everything changed on my. Where is it at? Right there. VIX. Come on, go slightly higher. VIX, VIX. Right there, VIX. Yeah, so the VIX is like 18. It's not anything crazy. All right, coming back towards the monthly high here, or the monthly open, excuse me, and yesterday's low. We'll see if they can plow through or if they're going to. And if you look at NASDAQ, by the way, NASDAQ's already taken back yesterday's low. That's why we got this entry. Now I see what happened. So you had this perfect execution of the indicator. That's what happened there. So look, this yellow line is yesterday's low. As they come up, they get above it, they get below it, but they hold the prior low, then they come back to it, squeeze. That is the pattern we talk about all the time, perfectly executed by the indicator. It's why it has such a high winning percentage. The next take profit level was at this black line right here, which is the another major low, because it's only required to squeeze back to the next support that broke, and then we'll see what happens from there. They pulled back off of it, got above that. So NQ has shown me that today is probably going to be bullish. Now, here's the deal. If they lose yesterday's low on the NQ and they can't get over yesterday's low on the SPY, then you have issues. But as of right now, you have NQ proving that the bulls are in control and ES trying to catch, or SPY at least trying to catch up. And now they're getting into yesterday's close on the NQ. That's why they're having trouble. So they kind of got above it, pulled back, and are coming back to it. We'll see if they can hold here or not. As long as they hold this low, and I think they're going to, This looks to me like they got above yesterday's close, pulled back, came back, came back to it. Now on this pullback, they have to hold this low, and if they come back to it, that should give them a opportunity to squeeze here. As long as they hold this low down here. If they get below this low, then what happened? So here's what you're basically saying. Is supply here strong, or is it weak? And so the initial push down from supply tells you where our starting point is. Okay? If you don't know what supply is, that's where the sellers are sitting. So the initial push down tells you your starting point. When they come back up to supply again and they push back down, if they make a lower low, that tells you that supply is still very strong there because they were able to make a lower high, lower low. If they can't make a lower low and they come back up here, it tells you that the supply is weak and demand is stronger and will overwhelm this level. So hopefully that makes sense on why that pattern works so well. And this is what institutions use to trap you every single time. Right now, they're making it look bearish. They're saying, oh, rejected strongly. Now, if it is bearish, it's bearish. But they're making it look bearish. But if they don't break this low, it's not bearish. They left a gap right here that they're going to have to fill. Yeah, they left a gap right there that they have to fill. SPY still holding at the 8 for now. And the 21, really the 21. It's not holding the 8 as much as it is tagging the 21 and bouncing, but still holding the pressure is up levels or the momentum up levels. And remember, the left is the 1 minute chart, so it's always going to be looking a little more volatile than the 5 minute chart because you're getting 5 bars for every 1 bar you're getting over here. It looks like there's also a mentor Q level here at 29,370. That blue line. So they're going to have to get through that as well. Yeah, it's a high volume level. So it makes sense that they're struggling at this level. It's yesterday's close. It is a high volume level. Why do you have the NQ1 versus the ES? Because the ES it had 2 winners and 2 losers last night, and after 2 losers, the futures locks out. So just so you know, if you have 2 losers in a day, the futures sniper will lock out and not trade anymore that day because it tells you that. Remember, the futures, by the way, is always a long trade right now. We don't have the short side fully baked yet. So it's looking for long trades, and if there's 2 losers at key levels, it tells you that the selling is very strong. And so last night, the ES had a couple of winners, but also had 2 losers, and so that locks it out for the day. VIX is at 17. Yeah, it's not very powerful today. I would say hey Matt, welcome to the stream. I would say at best today you're going to see chop. For a downside, I don't think you're going to see a very strong selling. And you have a potential for them to squeeze if they start to break through a couple of levels. Typing in from the fort, yeah. SPY trying to really push here. NQ needs to get on board with breaking out, and then if they both get on board, then they're going to push through this resistance and then potentially open up a strong upside day. Strong upside day, not necessarily meaning like a big green day, but back to even or possibly green. Considering where they were down to earlier, that's a strong upside day. Strong reversal. SPY's been putting a lot of pressure on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attempts coming up here. So they're going to need to break through soon, or we're going to see a full-on rejection. But as long as they stay above the 21 in VWAP, they're in a bullish set. Do you also consider less active trading time, like 10 to 10:30 a.m. or noon to 3 p.m.? Yeah, so for Pivot Point Pro, the one on the right here, we only trade until noon. So we trade from the open until noon, 9:30 to noon, so 2.5 hours. And then I don't trade it anymore, whether it's regular day or after hours or whatever. I just don't. You're welcome to do whatever you want. For Sniper, I take trades whenever they come up because the setups are good and the trades are good, and it understands the setups for squeezes much better than, say, a pivot or a reversal indicator. So this is a reversal indicator, this squeeze indicator, and you can have afternoon squeezes, you can have downtime squeezes if the setups are right. So this one I take 24 hours a day, or 23 hours a day, I guess, because futures don't run for one of the hours. So back to the 21 for the SPY. Just consolidating is all we've done so far. No direction. Got your consolidation here across the 21. They haven't been able to break below it. They haven't been able to really break out on the SPY. NQ broke out, got above some levels, and now is kind of back testing. So we'll see if they can. They've just stayed inside their opening range. So you have your opening range high here, your opening range low down here. Now they're trending back down toward the bottom side of that range. I should say midpoint of the range. It's not quite the bottom side. It's pretty close though. And with SPY not being able to push up here, rejection, I said if they couldn't get through soon, you'll see a rejection, and we'll see if they are rejecting or if we're going to consolidate in this box a little longer. Essentially, you have this box right here for the SPY that they've been in since 8 o'clock. If they break the bottom side of this box, then you can expect them to come down to 741.14 or so. Unless, here's the key, they give you kind of this move, and then we're looking for that to be a swept low and a trap. So this is why trade management is so important. So many people get this entry, right? Whatever it is, 29,230. And they want to see 25,550 because that's the pre-market high, and they think we're going all the way back there. And we might. They haven't invalidated like a lower low or anything like that. But if you're in this trade and you didn't take any profit here when it got to this target because you were looking for that, now you're all the way back to here. And now you got to be worried and you're wringing your hands. Now, if they hold and go higher, they hold and go higher, but they could absolutely sell off and break down here. This is what puts you in a bad state of mind right here. And the reason is because you look at this and you say, oh my God, I should have taken profit. Now I'm down here. Now what do I do? And you're not in a good state of mind. That's where emotion comes in. That's where doubt comes in. That's where bad trading comes in. But if you've already taken your profit and you've got you got to remember, let me squeeze this, spread this out a minute. I realize this one went fast, but if you were able to take this trade, you got a total of 22 points. If you took it all at the first one, you got 18, but you got a total of 22 points. 22 times 20 is $450 for the day. If you made $450 every day, that's $2,500, and that's just one trade. That's $2,500 a week, roughly. Not quite, but $2,500 a week, $2,250, I think exactly. That's over $100,000 a year in extra money. Now, if you didn't take that and you get down here and you start doubting yourself, well, now it can come down and then you get all the way back to break even. You get out and then it goes up, or you get out right here because you're scared and it goes up, or you wait till it goes lower and you take a loss on the trade. All of these things are what crush your trading account because you're looking for grand slams. You know how many grand slams are hitting a season? Not that many. Do you know how many singles are hitting a season? Thousands. So if you get thousands of singles, you're going to score a lot of runs. If you get 100 grand slams, well, you're going to strike out a lot in the middle of that, and you're not going to score as many runs. You want to score runs. You want to bank money. And people get very, very greedy because now you saw this green bar go up and you're like, oh, okay, we're good. And now you're like, oh, are we good? You're just constantly in a battle with yourself when this happens. And you're not going to win that battle. Your mind will play the wrong decision almost every time because you had a chance to take the money and now you're mad at yourself and you feel doubt and shame and stupidity. And you come down here and you don't know what to do. And you're like, well, I don't want to take a losing trade, but I don't want to take this little bit of money when I could have had this lot of bit of money. It's going to go back up. Take the wins. Take them. That's why they're there. If you want to keep your runner a little different and a little longer and try to hit these numbers with 10% of your trade, that's fine. But don't be trying to get 100% of your trade up 50, 100, 200 points. It's a really, really hard thing to do. There aren't that many 100-point moves straight in one direction that are easy to find. There just aren't. There are some, but not that many. And if they are there, you have a runner collecting some of that money, right? So that's just a little trading tip because this isn't where your mind messes with you. Over here, you're like, yeah, I'm good. I'm such a good trader. Everything's good. It's over here on the backside when you start to lose the money. Then you panic and get out way down here when you could have had a better deal, or you hold too long because you want it to go back up and you're mad that you didn't win. It's a lot of emotional stress that you just don't need. Take the easy win and be so happy you got it. Everybody wants everything now, and you're just not going to get it, because if you're going for everything now, you're going to hurt your overall performance. That's right. Take the money and run. Go on, take the money and run. Ooh, ooh. They're giving you the money. Take the money, because they might not give it to you for very long. It is an extremely important habit to start building if you want to be a successful trader. And it's a hard one to build because your mind messes with you in the other way too, right? Because you took profit here, and then you see this, and you're like, oh, why didn't I stay in for the extra 100 points? That's another $2,000. It is. But there's another trade. There'll be another move. There'll be another win. There'll be another day. Take the money when it's easy. And then if you want to keep a little portion for this, do it. That part's fine. I don't care about that. But take a majority of your trade early if you want to be a successful trader. Pete Rose is Pete Rose is one of the greatest statistical baseball players ever. I don't know if he had all the athletic abilities. Well, I know he didn't have all the athletic abilities of a Ken Griffey Jr. or anybody like that. But he got a lot of singles. And he set the record for how many he got. And barring his off-the-field antics, he would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He didn't hit 1 million home runs. He didn't steal 1 million bases. He didn't do anything all that flashy. He just grinded. He was a grinder, as they say in the poker industry. That's how this works. If you're going to day trade, you have to grind. You have to minimize your losses, and maximize your gains. Hashtag antics. That's right. Antics is a wonderful word. Did they just trap the Bears in NQ? I don't know about that. They might have trapped the Bulls. We'll see how it plays out. We're not there yet, but I would say SPY just lost some key levels. If they don't reclaim them pretty soon, they're going to be looking at these levels down here. And NQ is back at a key level. So this black line is a daily low. This black line is my line. I draw them on there just for my own reference. It's either a daily or a major low of some sort, and they're back working on it again, trying to hold it. So it makes a lot of sense that you go up to a resistance, come back to a support, and then go. But we'll have to see if they can hold this support. If they hold this support, then yeah, the Bears got trapped. Right now, up here, the Bulls got trapped. Which, by the way, that pattern works in reverse. Here it is in reverse. We come up. You've got the after hours high, it looks like here. After hours low. Oh, after hours low. And you had yesterday's close. So they got above yesterday's close, even by a little bit. They came back down, set a low, came back up, couldn't beat this high, got back to yesterday's close, and then came back to price. And what they do, they went back to the next support level down. Not squeezed, but ran it down to the next support level, right? So that pattern works in reverse too. All right, we are looking like we're going to squeeze again off of this low. So they came back, recaptured it, spiked below it, came back up above it, and here we go, squeezing. Now they should come back up here and test this again, and I would just assume that we will see them break through. So we talk about a lot of things. Price action is really pretty predictable on a short-term scale, and even a long-term scale for that matter. If you understand how they manipulate the audience, if you understand the manipulation patterns that they use, it's really not that hard to understand where they're headed next. Over here, you had a bunch of rejections, and as soon as they broke down below the box, they trapped, they spiked the low, recaptured it, and now they're squeezing higher. So this was a trap. Now we're back up here. So seeing a rejection up here certainly is not shocking. But you're looking for now something like this. They're going to retest today's lows. That's possible. What, just out of curiosity, what's leading you to that conclusion? I'm not saying you're wrong. We haven't broken out to the upside yet, but the overall pattern looks bullish to me. Just curious as to why you think that. And this is why, by the way, over here, you see the SPY. This is why the new version of Sniper is so effective. And you guys may not think it is because, again, you don't see the trades you're saved from. But there was a few sell signals that would have come up here in the old version of Sniper that all would have been tough. Maybe you got a winner here, maybe. But mostly all you have is chop going on right now. And the new version of Sniper filters that really well. I've been tracking silver and it still has downside potential. It's been foretelling price action in NQ. I'd be very careful with that. Each chart on its own. Silver has no correlation with NQ. Just because it does for a short period of time doesn't mean it does in real life. You have to look at the overall market structure of both, and you'll find out that they don't have much correlation whatsoever. Again, I'm not saying you're wrong that they're going to retest the lows, but I would not use that logic personally. If you were looking for correlation of charts, you were looking in the wrong places. Gold and the market were at all-time highs when gold is supposed to be the hedge. Gold is supposed to be high when the markets are low. That's not true. I can show you lots of instances of both being in the opposite direction and both being in the same direction. The only two markets that truly correlate to a certain degree are the NQ and the ES, and that is because of all of the overlap of the major players in both indexes. Future Sniper gave a buy at 1020 on NQ. I do not see it on your screen. Any setup I am missing? I've not seen any buy signal come up, and typically I wouldn't. 1020 is right here. I understand the buy signal at 1020. It makes sense, and it probably hit its target already. But, are you sure you have the latest version? Make sure you have the latest version of it. I don't have it. Let me just do a quick refresh and see if that does anything. Sometimes TradingView gets static, but I don't think that's the case here. It'll take a minute for it to populate. If you can send me a screenshot of that, Krishna, Um, it could be the version you're using. I don't know for sure. Aye with this. What's going on, Trading View? Yeah, I don't have anything at 10:20. There's been an update since yesterday. So you can see, guys, that you can see that they came down to support. They did give a setup for higher, so the 10:20 entry. I mean, I understand why it would have given one if it did, and they went right back to the resistance again, which the target should have been in that area somewhere. So I'm guessing they hit the target on that if you did get one, but I think you might have the wrong version potentially. I don't know that for sure. You both show it on NQ? What's going on? Do you have the latest version, Brad? Does everybody have the latest? I don't know. I Thank you, Krishna. Hmm. You know, we had twin screen issues the other day. Let me go open it in another screen. I wonder if having two screens is an issue. I don't know. Let me take a chart over here. One second, I'm looking on my other screen here real quick. I don't have it on my other screen either. Um, Odd that you're seeing trades that I'm not. That seems more like a trading view thing than a code thing because we all have the same code and trading view is processing it. Do you guys have after hours trading and everything on? I'm sure you do, but I'm just trying to narrow things down and understand what the potentials are for why it wouldn't. Sometimes it's a setting in the how we have our charts set up. Lots of consolidation this morning. Very slow moving market. I'm still looking at stuff on the other screen here, guys. Sorry, I'm doing both, but nothing's really happening in the market right now. So, um, sorry for the dead air, guys. Just doing a little bit of quick troubleshooting while we're waiting on the market here. Okay. You also got JG. I also got the 1020 on NQ as well as a sniper on NQ at 1027. The sniper I'm not worried about, but thank you for that, Super Dave. I'm not discounting. I'm just saying that's not what I'm worried about. And a pivot point pro sell at 1020. What is going on with my trading view? Clearly, this is a my trading view issue. That is not allowing this to happen. I wonder if I don't know. I have a lot of things that run. I don't know if it's a computer issue, an internet issue, a trading view issue, a chart issue, a settings issue. There's a lot to go through here. Let me I'll have to really dig into it after the call, but it looks like that 1021 based on the screenshot was a winner. So good job there, guys. And a decent winner at that, right? Let me see. Let me go back and look at that. I had it up. Yeah, looks like you guys did pretty good on that long. I just wish I understood why it didn't come up for my chart. Well, I'm glad you guys are getting it. That's the most important thing is that you're getting the trades. Because full disclosure, by the way, if you guys are new here, I don't trade the futures sniper while I'm doing this call because it's just too much. There's too much going on. Trying to live cast and answer questions, troubleshoot, do everything else, and futures move very quickly. So to put in a futures trade takes a little bit of time to get it all set up properly. So I don't trade it while I'm doing this. I trade it 100% of the time when I'm not doing a live call. But if I'm on a live call with you guys, I don't. I'm always very transparent about that so that you know that I just like to be upfront. It doesn't, it's a tremendous product. I trade it all the time. But I don't want you guys to think I'm not trading it because I don't believe in it. It's because trading and live casting is very, very difficult as is. Just doing the pivot point pro trades, trying to do both is just too much. So that's an FYI. So I'm glad you guys are getting the winners. That's the most important thing. That's why I created the product, and that's now what 6 or 7 winners today with only 2 losers, or with only 1 loser. So very awesome there. But I am sad that my screen isn't updating. Of note, oil is up 7% today. Yeah, I think we're bombing Iran again, and that shit's going to go on, and you're going to get these random spike up and downs. That will all settle itself eventually. That will all kind of work itself out and settle. FYI, they filled this gap right here from the pre-market. So that little jump that they took at 805 has been filled on the SPY, and they are breaking down below here. NQ still holding up fairly well. I mean, they're down at the lows, but they haven't broken down like say the SPY has. They may follow soon. Um, we'll just have to see how this plays out. Okay. So let me look again at the screenshot because I think I see the issue. I am on NQ1 exclamation point, and you are on NASDAQ 100 E-mini futures one. I think they're two different charts. You're on NQU 2026. I can see in the bar on the right, and I'm on NQ1 exclamation point. So when you see, so you can see up here in the symbol search, mine's NQ1 exclamation point, and yours is NQU 20. So if I go to NQU 2026, wait for it to load up. Nope, still no trade there. I was hoping that was it. I thought I Sherlock Holmes to that one. Dang it. Okay. Interesting. There are a lot of little things that can be different, whether it's we're on the same exchange or um, same candles. You're not on any kind of, I can see you're on the same candles. Hmm. Interesting. It's got to be an issue with a setting, and I will have to figure out what that setting is. I'm on MNQ1 exclamation point, and I show trades at 9:30, 10. Let's go to MNQ for a second. MNQ. Not there either. Well, let me go down here to that. I'm not sure. I wish I had an answer for you. All right, coming back into yesterday's low here, this will be a key time for the markets, basically the open. Also, so the open of the NASDAQ was right in this zone. If they are going to hold, they're going to need to hold soon. Okay, I think I have found the culprit now. So, as time goes on, different new supports are created and different new levels are created in the um, architecture, and then old ones get overwritten or rewritten because new structure matters more than old structure. So as the indicator is looking for supports, as time moves forward, it can have different levels of support that change. So since I have had my indicator for a lot longer, I have older supports and different support levels that yours doesn't have. And so my support engine is different than yours. That doesn't mean that the indicator isn't working properly or isn't or there's something wrong. It means that the support engine creates all of its levels based on historical data. As historical data rolls away, new data is created and new levels and new engines are created. And so when you don't have older levels there that can still be there, so I may have a support from a level that eroded that you don't, and that is a more important support value to my chart than your chart. So it didn't trigger on my chart. I hope that makes sense. It's a very complex thing. That's why I had to go to coding on it. The way it builds its support levels is based on historical data. So I have a lot longer historical data because I've had it on my chart for a lot longer. The engine has stayed built and the support levels stay built. So the way it creates where to enter is going to be the same for most of you guys because I put this out yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever it was. And you guys all downloaded it at basically the same time and all have basically the same support engines. Mine's a little different, so it's not recognizing every single support that yours does because that is a historical value. So it has to do with the way that the support engine works and creates everything. And what that means is we're not always going to have the exact same trades, but we're always going to use the same trade logic, which should work just fine, which obviously we saw it did. So shouldn't be an issue other than the trading might not be universally exactly the same. When you download the indicator changes how the support engine is going to look because you can only have so much historical data. So I hope that makes sense. I was very confused by that, and now I'm not. Now, as far as Pivot Point Pro not printing, that one's a little interesting. It should not have printed a sell signal at 10 whatever's time you said. Um, would you say this is controlled selling on NQ? I don't know if I'd say it's controlled. It's certainly not bat out of hell selling, that's for sure. But it's methodical. So I guess controlled and methodical are very similar. But I don't know if I would use specifically the word controlled yet. Very often selling starts like this before it accelerates because it has to get through a lot of key levels. And once it breaks the final key level, or you might know it if you're a video gamer as the end game boss, then it's game over and it will accelerate very quickly. So mostly controlled selling is one of two things. It's trapping or it's just grinding because it's got to get through where everybody's trying to buy. We will know soon because if it gets through, this is the 1 minute chart. I need to go to a bigger chart for supports. Let's go to the hourly. It broke this shelf here, but not by enough that it can't reclaim it, but it has broken this shelf. If they don't reclaim pretty soon, and I mean pretty soon, they're very likely to come back down now and test the lows. I mentioned if they broke this shelf up here on SPY, they'd very likely be down at these numbers pretty quick, and they're on their way. So failure from the SPY and NQ up here. They both had a chance to push and break out and go and get back through yesterday's low on ES and SPY. They did not do it yet. NQ did and now has failed back below it. So key time here for both markets. They need to reclaim this hourly low. They have 10 minutes. Well, they don't. They can do it the next hour. Actually, that would be more precise. But they do need to reclaim this hourly low in the next hour or two. Remember, you got to use the same time frame. But if they can reclaim that hourly low, then this was just a back test of support, and we would look for higher. If they cannot reclaim this hourly low, then I would look for lower. Daily sell on NQ. I don't use the daily sell, but certainly something to keep an eye on. Could I use Schwab, Think, or Swim with Sniper? No. The reason being, Schwab does not protect code. So if I put it on Charles Schwab, you can just have the code, and I'm not doing that. So unfortunately, they don't allow you to have a private or invite-only indicator where you can use the indicator, but you don't see how it works. And that's not really something I'm looking for, unfortunately. That's really not a great business thing for them. So unfortunately, you cannot. I would love to have it on there because a ton of people use it and would make it easier to trade and do everything all on one screen. Because I use Thinkorswim myself, and I do a lot of my trading on there. So I have two screens open, which is annoying, but that's what it is. Could potentially see an entry here on the NQ. I'm saying that I don't have any like buy warning or anything like that. I'm just seeing that we're kind of creating a potential pattern. So you could see a potential buy alert here, but there's no guarantee, and I don't know when or if it'll trigger. That's up to the algorithm and stuff. Any trades today? Yeah, we've had this sniper trade for a win really quick right off the gate. And then people who have sniper, I explained it earlier, Will, it's kind of a whatever. The older your historical data changes things, but whatever. Anyway, point is, a lot of people had a trade right here that was a winner. So 2 trades, we'll say both winners. And nothing on the Pivot Point Pro yet. All right, little push here from the Bulls. I said they kind of had to reclaim that hourly level. They're trying to. They're trying. We'll see if they can sustain it. Oh, there's your entry. I said we might get an entry. There it is. Come on, don't do that. Why are we? Oh, I know why. Okay. I haven't downloaded the new code to fix that yet. There is an entry here. We found this out. Free Market, one of my users let me know that was happening, and I have a new code for it, but we were doing the live, so I couldn't get it. Should come back here in just a second. Still, sorry, still looking for them to hold this hourly low. This is going to be important. Looks like they're trying to reclaim here. We had the end. This is so annoying. Hold on, I'm looking back here real quick. No, I did. Okay, I thought I did. Okay, I'm gonna have to talk to my. I put a new update out this morning that was supposed to fix that issue. So we'll have to do another update. That's very annoying. There was an entry that flashed here. I got an entry on my phone, and it's the. Let me refresh my screen. I know that if I refresh because it flashed and then went away, a lot of times it comes back because TradingView gets stuck. So let me see if it came back. Okay. So it did come back. The entry was here. We got the 29,246. Yep. Okay. So here was the entry. It went up and hit both take profits. So I think, okay. I think the entry is it flashed and didn't, okay. So it flashed and didn't come back. I refreshed the screen and that's why it came back. I think once it flashes and doesn't do anything, TradingView needs to be reset to get it. But we did have the entry. This is I'll get this fixed. That's not a. This is why when you put it out to the masses, you get to find all the bugs. I watched a lot of trades. These are all first-time issues, so. Have I tried to uncheck my B adjust button? No. Maybe the people are getting trades because of those support levels as well. We'll see. And that one popped up. That one popped up. No, it's the same. All right, we're in the about to close this hour. They tried to spike it up and hold. Let's see if they hold this low and come back through. If they do, that will be a bigger time frame move potentially. Still a few bugs to work out, but obviously the logic is great. Had the trade nailed again. That's like 7 winners on NQ today, with 1 loser. So for those of you who joined late, we can just kind of go through that while we have this going on. You had a winner here. Some people had a winner here based on the support logic. You had a winner here. Down here, you had a winner here. This was 1 loser. You had a winner here. This is all from the overnight until now. You had a winner here. And 1 more, I think. And a winner here. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 winners, 1 loser today. So really, really, really awesome day. Still a few bugs to work out, but you can see the logic is the logic is the trade logic is good. The execution logic still has a couple of kinks in it, I guess, which is super annoying. We cannot get a sell right now on the Pivot Point Pro. If anything, you would get a buy. Require a very fast reaction to enter and exit trades price from the indicator. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be sometimes. Sometimes it's not. Like yesterday, I got a trade alert. I came down, and it was like 3 or 4, maybe 4 minutes later, and price was still there, and I just took it and was fine. The market moves fast sometimes, and we're talking about squeezes, so there's no suggestion. It just is how the market moves. There are times when the market is very volatile and going very quickly, and there are times that you're going to be able to have plenty of time to get in. It just depends on what's going on with the market. Most of the after hours trades, you have plenty of time to get in. Most of the real time hours trades are going to be a little quicker, but you're still fine. Um, I always have my trade screen pulled up, and my so all I got to do is hit a button. You can hit the button for entry pretty quickly, at least on Tradeovate, which is what I use. Um, you can just hit either there's a quick buy bid button, which I use a lot, or you can use enter market. You're going to get a bad price at most of the time, or not. You're just going to give up a couple points. More often than not, though, you will get plenty of time to enter at a reasonable price. If you're a couple points off, you're talking about if you're 2 points off on the Nasdaq, it's $40 of a potential. What's that? $360. So you might get 320 or something. I realize you can be more than 2 points off, but there are just things that come with trading, especially day trading. Key time here for the Bulls. They're coming back down into this support. I am probably going to wrap this up here in the next couple of minutes as we um, haven't had anything on Pivot Point Pro. We've seen how Futures Sniper works. We just got to fine tune some of the little glitches in it, but it's not repainting to new levels. That's the biggest issue. So on the old version, it may have moved the entry back to here or something because of how repainting works. So it's staying at exactly the same place. We just need it to stay on the chart, which is a coding issue that I know that we can get fixed. So I'm not overly concerned about that. It's just making sure it's fixed and then going from there. So um, overall, it's an incredible tool, guys. You've seen all the trades that we've had, a few today that have all been winners, and over the course of the overnight, we had several winners, 5 or 6 winners and one loser. So very powerful tool. This low here becomes very important. If this breaks, they're very likely going to challenge the pre-market low, which is fairly low, all the way down here at 28,908. So keep this in mind. If we do sign off here, I'm probably going to sign off in the next couple minutes. Like I said, we don't have much building, and now I have to use the restroom. And we've had several trades for Future Sniper, and I know we've all seen Pivot Point Pro and how it works. So I'm not um, overly concerned with getting or not getting a trade there. Have you considered changing sniper from an indicator to a strategy? In both cases, could you separate the long and short signals in the final version so they can be automated webhooks? That's a lot of stuff that I'll have to talk to a coder about. I don't know the answer, is what I'm trying to say. Joined late. Are you still thinking up? Overall, in the big picture, yes. Today depends on this low right here at 29,151. They really need to hold that to kind of hold together any kind of upward momentum. For me, it's going to be a race of they've broken the opening range low, but then got back into it. It's going to be a case of this high versus this low. If they can hold this low and start squeezing, then I would look for them to break out over this high. Getting back through probably, let's see here. Let me look at this. This is the 1 minute chart, so it's a little wonky as far as that goes. There's a lot of resistance right here. But getting back over 29,323 would be a start. That would be a good start for the NQ to start to put together some bullishness. But if they break this low, I could see them dropping pretty quick. All right, guys, I'm going to call it here. Looks like they're going to press on this low and see if they can break through. Given that the SPY has not reached the pre-market low after breaking down, I do think there's a fair chance that we're going to see them break down and check some downside here. But again, this low matters. If they can hold this low and go, then we'll see what they can do. But very often when you break down below the 8, 21 in VWAP after breaking above them and switching them, in other words, having the 8 on top, the 21 on top, and the VWAP, then like that, and they break back down below it, very often you're coming to the pre-market low. So very important next 20 to 30 minutes for the SPY and NQ here in ES if they're going to try to make hay and turn this day into any kind of bullish recovery. I appreciate everybody being here. Hopefully you saw the power of futures sniper today. Not so much on Pivot Point Pro just because there wasn't anything going on. We'll get the little kinks worked out. That I'm not worried about. Those are things that are fixable. They're not repaints that change bars or anything like that, like the old version. So we'll get that dialed in and make sure that we have it, or try to get it to where it doesn't do that stuff. The first bar was understandable. The second one, this one is a little different. So we'll make sure we get it all fixed and get you guys a good final product. But again, that's why you're getting a $20 a month or $200 a year discount, because you are in the beta version of it. And I appreciate you being early adopters. It will be beneficial over time. So thank you guys very much for being here. Kevin, thank you. Appreciate it. And we will do it again next Wednesday. Also, I do every day at the close. If you're new here, 3:55 p.m. Eastern, I do a closing video. Check it out on YouTube. See you guys then.